Welcome, everyone, to another installment of Opinions Are Stupid. I'm here with my co-host, Jason Medina. We're going to talk about stuff that you probably dealt with over the course of the week and maybe some stuff from last week. We were a little late because I've been busy. That's like anybody's on this channel. No, but seriously, if you have anybody, if you guys have seen this, you have anybody that's out there and you want to check it out, feel free to connect with us through the Opinions Are Stupid YouTube channel. Leave a comment, subscribe, like it, pass it on.
Or hate us. It's fine too.
I'm sorry, Jason, what?
Or they can hate us. It's fine too. It's a win for everybody.
Bring it on. So, whatever. Jason, you want to jump directly into politics, and I'm happy to talk about it. But first, I just want to say, you want to start with? Besides that, or?
Well, the thing is, I know what fuels you. So I want to get the fuel out as quickly as possible so that we can just kind of bring it down a notch. So let's just go right into the politics, because I know it's eating you up inside. You're making your turkey chili stewing over it. So just go right into it. That's what I look at it.
My son makes jokes about, like, we just had a normal discussion and then you bring up politics like that.
Right. He goes from 0 to 100 and like
he gets annoyed with me. So right off the bat, let's just talk about what's been going on in politics, and we're going to do that. Let's talk about the despicable 8 Democrats that decided to become Republicans this week and not vote for the plan, the $15 amendment, minimum wage amendment, because I guess it was going to hurt somebody in their district. I don't understand how that works. Obviously,
it is a popular opinion. I hope everyone understands that most, even Floridians this week, there was a poll that said they support a $15 minimum wage. And I say that only because Florida is supposed to be this, die-hard red state, but even 70% of them want it.
I think people like to eat. I think that's what it comes down to, right? So you get $15, you get, instead of $11, you get that extra $4 that we get to tax. Here's the thing that I don't get, right? $15 minimum wage, right? That means taxes come in. That means you get more money, yeah. Whoever's making $15 an hour gets more money. But the federal government gets more tax. And unemployment, I mean, the state agencies get more tax. I think we should tax the rich before eating them. We should tax them first, then eat them. But these places get more money. It's like, what's the problem here? And, small businesses are going to suffer. No, they're not. You know why? Because small businesses will just raise their prices to fit. And me, who's making a lot more than $15 an hour, folks, and you, who's making a lot more than $15 an hour, might say, I can't, but you can't. But you're not going to say that. You know why? Because you're still going to buy that can of beans. Right. That's the thing. Right. Will you buy less cans of beans? Maybe. But the guy next to you, right? The guy next to you that was making, $7 or $8 an hour now gets 15, and guess what he's going to do? He's also going to buy a can of beans. And you know what happens to that small business? That small business is going to make more money. This is simple economics, gentlemen.
Except you're not looking at one aspect of it, where to a certain point, the government, not to be conspiracy theorists, want to control people to a certain point. So if you give them too much money, they have a little bit too much power. If they have a little too much power, they have too much say at the polls. But if you suppress that and make them come to you for, let's say, welfare or for food stamps, you have them in your back pocket.
But the thing is that the people that they're actually supporting with welfare and food stamps are Walmart.
No, I agree.
You see what I'm saying? Agree. You can complain about people being on. Here's the thing. I posted a meme earlier on, and I'm gonna, and this is my, whatever. Because I think for the most part, we can talk about COVID too, but I think, and also Cuomo. For the most part, the idea of people not making any money, like the idea of money, right? It comes down, and it's stupid because money's stupid, but it comes down to very simple things. I like paying my taxes, believe it or not. You know why? Because I know that my taxes help things and people and infrastructure and all that shit. You know. Because in this country, since we have so much money, we can do things like figure out, and people say, well, there's a waste of money. No, let's figure out how this tiny little piece of the infrastructure of our environment works, right? This study of this particular kind of flora or fauna, how it integrates into the environment, what it does, what this particular thing does, and how it affects us. You know why I want to know that? Because then we garner that information, and that information becomes a base of information that we can pull together. Just like, I don't know, keep sending money to the World Health Organization so they can combat, fucking diseases that pop out of nowhere, or sending money to having a bunch of guys in China that's their entire job is to keep an eye on shit and see if there's another pandemic that's coming. All the stuff that Trump fired people for, or took money away for. And I hate to say Trump because it's not just Trump that does this, but specifically in the last few years, this is stuff that happened. So I like spending money to figure things out. You know why? Because as a project manager, you prepare for the fucking future by having information. Right. Or whatever. You just prepare by knowing things and having information. The more I know, the better I am at my job. The more you know, the better you are at living. Right? I know that science baffles people because it ain't faith. I just believe in God. Great, you believe in God. What has God done for you lately?
So I heard, to add to that, I heard a Republican point of view on this. So I want to kick it down the can, see what you say. Uh-oh. The problem isn't that Democrats want $15 an hour. The problem is there hasn't been a middle ground to get to the $15 an hour. So there hasn't been a $12 an hour and then gradually to 15 or $10 to gradually get to 15.
No, you know why? This is why that's stupid. Because we've had 26 years to do that.
Right.
This has been something that's been kicked down the road for years. What is the minimum wage now? $12, not even 12, right? It's like 7.
No. Yeah, it's like $7.50, something like that.
What?
$7.25, $7.15 or something. Right.
$7 an hour is the minimum wage. Right. Put that together in your head. For the most part, no one gets that anymore. Most part, people get like 8, 10, or whatever, depending on where you live. But if you bring that up, if you raise those boats up, the idea of where we're going to go from 7, 11, it was a hard battle in the 90s to get it to 7. You see what I'm saying?
I get you. Right. I know.
If we were to follow inflation, the minimum wage should be $26 an hour right now. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like
I hear you.
$2 an hour. Oh, you can't make that working at McDonald's. Why not?
Right.
Manager, because only managers make that? Well, that's
what McDonald's makes billions of dollars a year.
Do the math. Do the math on how, and the other thing, Rand Paul was saying that Biden hates teenagers because he wants to raise the minimum wage. I'm like, come on.
Rand Paul, come on.
Well, small businesses know talent. And, even as a small business, having the ability to pay someone what they're worth goes a long way. And if you're saying, well, they'll have to raise their for the most part, small businesses like contractors and shit, pay people $40 an hour to fucking, work. So that's not going to affect them. Stuff like contractors. We're talking about mom and pop comic book stores or whatever. You hire the people you need for the job. So if a $15 minimum wage means that the guys that were making $10 before now have 15, which means they can come in and buy that model that they've been saving up for, or buy those toys they've been saving up for, or whatever. Guess what just happened to you? Your business just took a 10% increase.
Right. I know. I'm not debating it. I'm just giving you the point of view of why the Republicans say that they didn't want to. Not only would it hurt small businesses, but it wasn't a gradual incline for them. It was just one swoop of 15, and to them they think it would just hurt the economy way too much.
But I bet you if there was a gradual incline, they would have voted it down too. See, everything's a problem for these dicks. And I'm sorry, I hate to make it sound like that, but whatever. Anyway, so COVID. Some good news this week. We got another vaccine that's coming down the pike, which is good. The president.
You took the 2-shot one, right?
Huh?
2-shot one.
I got one shot.
You took is the 2-shot.
Shot
you have one left.
Well, this is now if the one we're talking about is a 1-shot vaccine.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Would you if you had to wait too long for the 2-shot one, would you have just taken the Johnson & Johnson one, for example?
If I had the ability to get the Johnson & Johnson one last month when I got this 2-shot vaccine, I would have taken it. You know why? Because Johnson & Johnson would have been the same as me having this 1 shot. 80%.
Right. No, I got you.
You know what I mean? 80% is better than nothing. 80% is higher than the flu vaccine. The flu vaccine is only at 50%. I get a flu shot, there's a 50-50 chance that I might get the flu really badly. You see what I'm saying? With these vaccines, it's 80%. There's an 80%, a 20% chance you won't get it, and there was a 20% chance you won't and if you do get it, you get it badly. You won't get it badly. Right. Keeping you off the respirator. For the most part, that's what we're trying to do here. We're trying to stop the death. Have these people shot with the vaccine means, I might get sick, but I'm not gonna fucking die.
Right, right, right.
Which is the reason why we're in lockdown in the first place. Unless you're in Texas, of course, but then all bets are off.
Wide open in Texas, my friend.
What the hell's wrong with these assholes? It blows my mind. Texas is open for business. Look at me. Don't look at the fact you don't have power. Look at me. Power. No, you're open for business.
Well, I text you this a couple of days ago about how the bait and switch, and I think that's all this was. I think he was getting too much heat. He wanted to get the heat off him. So how did I do it? Do a culture war by saying no more masks and get the left and the right to fight over the mask. I mean, there's no other reason. There's no other reason for it, because why would you do it when we're at the edge of curtailing this thing? Why not keep numbers low for another 2-3 months, for example, until at least the summer, and then try to kick it in? Like,
but
it
not
doesn't
even
make
2-3 months. According to Biden, we're gonna hit 2 million people vaccinated by the end of by June. You're right.
No, I agree. I'm just saying, but
200 million. So the 100 million that he said was going to be done in the first 100 days, probably going to be done by the end of this month, because the Moderna vaccine is like there's 50 million coming out. I mean, the J&J vaccine has 50 million coming out this month.
Right.
So already, you know what I'm saying? That's he's got his shots, and people are complaining about they want to shop around for a vaccine. Just put one in your arm, dude. Shopping around for what?
Right.
Oh, wait! It's an mRNA. You're going to make me sick. Getting sick for a day or two is better than dying. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
And in most cases, even when your kids, for example, get shots when they're small, the doctor, the first thing they tell you is, hey, your kid might get a little bit feverish. They might get sick for a day or two. It's the same idea. It's no difference from this or getting the polio vaccine in a sense. You're going to get sick because your body's fighting off this disease. So I don't understand what the problem is.
I don't even. I can't, man. I can't. You know what I'm saying? I can't even. It's like, to me, when people are like, oh, there's a chance that I might, shut the fuck up. Just shut up. Shut up. I don't want to hear you. So that's some good news about COVID. The numbers are going down. And now, since we're going to lead into COVID, when I talk about Mario Cuomo and how he killed many people, so people are mad that Mario Cuomo was in the pocket of these homes, right? The thing is that he's not the only one. Like, every governor has to make sure that he's kind of like, hate to say this, but jerking off the right people. And unfortunately for Mario, the right people at this time were the people who shouldn't have been messing with. I'm really sorry. It's really sad, actually, to hear about all the deaths of COVID. We've had one in the family recently, which is sad. But
right, and
I'm not going to elaborate on it. It's just like we know, it's sad shit.
We know people. We know people. Yeah,
I know people who died. So when people say stuff like, COVID, blah, this, blah, it's no big deal. It's whatever. It's like, I know people who died from COVID. Or my favorite, how do you know it was COVID?
Right.
How do you know?
Right.
Because not everyone goes to the hospital all at once with a heart attack. It's like, well, then their organs failed because of COVID, though, right? That's why.
Or my other favorite,
because of COVID.
Oh, my other favorite. If there's an underlying condition, they were sick anyway. It wasn't the COVID that killed them. It's because they were obese. Which, yes, that was maybe a contributing factor, but there's something that accelerated that death. It wasn't
that's the thing.
The person woke up and
talk about that. Is it really COVID that killed them? Is it really me that hit you with the bat, or was it the bat? It might have been the bat that hit you with the bat. Oh, I was connected to the bat, so that's what. See? Oh, I see. Yeah, there's these things called consequences of situations that we're not putting into any kind of order here, and I find that really kind of offensive. But that's me. So Cuomo's also in trouble for talking to women and saying shit that he shouldn't have, or holding women in the face and kissing them or whatever. Whatever meaning, I don't know the actual things that he's done, other than there's been those things. I'm not dismissing them. Please don't come at me with pitchforks, ladies. I hear you.
Right.
I think it's really ridiculous and offensive to invade anybody's space, especially holding their faces before kissing them. Oh my God, could you imagine? I just don't like. I don't like when people invade my space. I don't like being on a subway and somebody hanging over me with their stank breath, or whatever.
Oh, the crotch shot. How about the crotch shot?
Oh, the crotch shot. Yeah, thanks, buddy. Good old New York City subway. Anybody who sits in a chair in a seat and stretches out like that, I kind of feel like, what's the point of that? What are you doing? Is it
Right.
This is you're expressing dominance? Congratulations. I'm just not going to sit by you. You're taking up
Maybe
lots
just
of space because you're dumb. It's like stupid. It's like the guy who brings Chinese food to the train station, to the subway. Why are you eating that now?
right. And then you just throw, and then in most cases they just throw like the rest of the food on the platform anyway. It's not like
Well, they
they're
have to,
helping out by throwing it into trash or anything.
they have friends. They have rat friends. And they want to help. Sorry,
Right.
but my phone was giving me an emergency notification. So yeah, so Cuomo. He's trying to find a way not to get out of it. He's apologized. I don't. I mean, I'm not the women he touched, so I can't really speak to that. I don't think he should quit. I don't think. I think that he might have sunk himself for another thing, another term.
So you don't think this the allegation is serious enough for him to quit? Do you think he should
I wasn't
stay
Trump
low?
up
I
for
mean,
wasn't Trump up for actual 46
I know
rape allegations? Here's the thing. Here's the thing.
that's what makes
right?
this
And
weird.
I
I know.
understand. I understand how sensitive this is, and I understand the situation, and I agree. Okay, I agree with it. I think that unless someone says I was raped by the governor of New York, and hopefully this has not happened. Unless
Right.
there's actually a rape allegation involved, he should not step down. Should he apologize? Yes. Should he be investigated? Yes. Should these women go after him? Go sue him? Absolutely. All these things should happen. Should he step down as governor? Not now. We need him to be governor. I think that the same thing happened with. There's a lot of people out there a lot of Republicans who are under the gun. This guy in the wheelchair. What's his name?
In Texas?
Not from Texas, from North Carolina.
No.
He's a representative. He's in a wheelchair. He has a crazy ass name. I want to
Oh, I
say,
think I know the guy. I don't remember the name, but is he the one with the car crash that lied about the car
yeah,
crash?
that guy. Hold
Yeah,
on.
I forgot his name, but I read this story recently.
Rep.
So I got a breaking news alert while you're looking at that, and apparently two Democrats are pressuring Cuomo to resign, saying he should step down immediately. So the pressure's coming on him, and he has to
Yeah,
say something or do
yeah.
something because the pressure's coming at him.
Yeah, but that's the thing. They're also it's also the idea of constituency and what they're controlling. Of course, they're going to say that because their constituents want them to say that. And I again, I'm not protecting Cuomo. I'm not. But the allegations of sexual misconduct is not the same as an allegation of rape. It's not the same as many allegations of sexual conduct. There's three right now, right? If there's a fourth one comes up, we hear more about it. We'll see. But there's three right now. Is three too much? Yes, three is too much. Again, Trump had 46. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And again, I'm not stating that this is good, bad, or indifferent. I'm not stating that women should not have the right to say something about this. I'm not saying they should not come out to the public. And I'm not saying where were you 6 months ago? I'm not saying any of that. Come out, say what you need to say. Let's investigate it. Let's see where it goes. And if in 3 months, Cuomo's in a situation where he can't escape this. The main thing is that there was a thing recently about how Cuomo's a bastard. Like he's a bully and an
Right.
ass. And he's been
Nobody
like
likes the
that
guy,
for
apparently.
years.
Right.
But the press didn't really take any of the stuff that's been going on because they don't know how to report on it. There was a whole thing on the media this weekend about Cuomo. And if you want to check it out, onthemedia.org, check it out. They have a great show about media and how we don't.
Who knew?
We, yeah, we don't listen to journalists tell their story. We want something like the fact that this guy who Cuomo called while he was baiting. I was just about to bathe my two children, and then Cuomo called me, told me he was gonna kill me. He was gonna kill me and set my house on fire. And I was like, what? And now he goes to the Post, the New York Post, boys and girls. Come on. He goes to the Post to talk about this. And again, these allegations are what they are. I am certainly not giving Cuomo the benefit of the doubt. What I'm saying is, let's hear it all. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he's been doing shit like this forever. So it's not like, to me, he's not like he's a New York political animal. And that in its own way is kind of dangerous. But what it is, and let's investigate it. If he's not going to resign. But he's not. He's probably not going to win. He's not going to run for re-election.
So let's go. Let's go in the time machine here. If this was 5-6 years ago, before Trump, before all these norms were shattered and broken, and these allegations would have come out, and we're in the same situation, do you think he would have resigned?
No.
Because we were in a different world.
I don't think he would have resigned. Well, this is 7 years after Me Too, right? Me Too came out 7 years ago, right? The realization is this.
But I'm not even talking about Me Too. I'm not even talking about Me Too. I'm talking about the norms that were in government and in politics at the time, where there were certain holy grails that would kind of throw you off. And before Trump, was this one of them?
What happened to the senator from Minnesota that stepped down right after someone said he touched my breast, and it was like there are pictures of him not even touching her breast, like on her, like
right.
And that was like there were jokes and whatever. He quit. Al Franken. He quit.
Right. Al Franken, Saturday Night Live, right?
Because he was like, I don't want to be a distraction. And the senator of New York went after him, guns a-blazing, like, he's got to quit, blah, blah, blah. And she realized after the fact that it was a Republican ploy. Like, they were just trying to sink him, and she fell right into it, Whether she believes it or not, or whether she's keeping her mouth. She's a senator from New York. She hasn't said anything about Cuomo.
Right. But that was still Trump. That was still Trump time. I'm talking before.
No,
Trump.
This is not Trump time. This is before Trump.
Wasn't this 2016, right before Trump?
2016. He's got me looking up, man. That's why we need a producer on the show.
Producer, please.
Hey, look it up. Al Franken.
I could have sworn this was 2016 because I think that's why the Republicans came at him so hard, because they were kind of trying to show, hey, we're not the party of Trump. We're not going to support what Trump does.
Beep, 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 beep. Oh, he's on a show now. I didn't even know that.
Like a TV show?
When did he resign? Yeah. Tenure.
And this guy was on a path to he was going to move up the ladder to maybe become
Franken was going to be sexual 2017. November 16, 2017. I guess you're right.
Right.
Yeah.
So Trump was shattering norms, and a lot of Democrats felt they had to do something, which is why Al Franken got, his head on a platter at that point so quickly. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying before Trump, do you think these norms would have had enough pressure that would have made him resign at this point? Because I think Trump has changed the game to the point where a lot of these guys, look at Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz in a normal world might have, had to face what he did fleeing Texas. And now he's like, I didn't do anything wrong. I'm just being a good dad. And people are just kind of like moving on.
No one is moving on from Ted Cruz.
I'm just saying he hasn't been attacked as much as he has, considering the Mexico thing and considering the whole insurrection. I mean, in a normal world,
we're moving on from Ted Cruz, bro.
I don't mean it that way.
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
He's playing the playbook. He saw the playbook.
I know what you're saying. I don't think that he's one more shot away from people knocking on his door and stringing him up. No offense to Ted Cruz. I don't want anybody to string you up. I mean, politically. Let's face it here, politically. No violence against Ted Cruz. I mean, his haircut is violent enough. And that beard, what the hell, bro? Please. The thing is that it's funny. It's like people are like, he's telling his neighbors, don't be assholes. Dude, come on. You're living next to you.
But at the same time, his neighbors didn't have any power or heat. I can see why they would be a little bit upset.
He left this dog. The big thing that's happening now is he left his dog in the house by itself over that week that he was going to be gone, and people are like really upset about that. And I'm like, come on, people first. I love dogs. I love animals, and I don't want to get anybody angry. I love animals. I would have a dog if I could, or a cat maybe. Maybe not a cat. A dog if I could. But the realization is this, right? The realization is, people died in Texas. 5 people died in Texas. 3 children froze to death in Texas. This is a serious situation, and that's why we go back to the governor of doing a sleight of hand and saying, "Go look over there," instead of dealing with this power issue. The fallout is going to be pretty severe. They said the Texas, by the way, going back to the Texas thing, the Texas Parliament, the government said that the people who got those $6,000 checks, bills, have to pay them.
Which is crazy.
So I'm like, wow. It's okay. Because like those people that are getting those $6,000 bills are suing the power company. So
right.
We'll see.
Yeah, this fight is far from over. It's far from over. What's going on in Texas?
Well, they're gonna have to. There's a reckoning coming to Texas, and I think it's gonna start happening this November. They don't want black people to vote, of course, and same thing in Georgia, and same thing in some other places. But there's a reckoning coming in. Those people are gonna vote. They're gonna vote. Yeah. Long lines at the polls is because they don't want you to vote. That's it.
And a lot of people have moved to Texas over the last year because of COVID, just getting out of whatever state they were in, coming into Texas, like California and surrounding areas. So it might be a whole different political game, 2-3 years from now.
Yeah, if there's anybody left. It's only 1% of the population. Do the math. 300 million Americans. What's 1% of 300 million?
A lot of people.
So getting away from COVID and Como in Texas, let's talk about what else happened. So did you finish Wandavision?
I did. I was very excited over that last episode.
What'd you think? 46 minutes.
46. And a little teaser at the end. Scenes. Yeah, right? Exactly. The 2 end scenes. I didn't realize this is the first time they actually named her the Scarlet Witch. I just always kept saying it because I knew the character. So
right. She was Wanda, whatever her last name is. Maxim.
Right.
Which all right. So the big news. There's some news from Marvel that I think was really interesting. But as far as what I saw, and I did a video for one of my videos earlier in the week, today as a matter of fact, and I posted it on Facebook where I was
jam-packed content on this channel.
Why are you so upset? Like what? It's like we were going to get Reed Richards and Doctor Strange. Look, marketing is going to do whatever they can to make you watch the fucking show. They'll put Reed Richards' voice. They'll put Doctor Strange walking in saying he's Stephen Strange. They'll put a guy, jumping around like Black Panther. They'll do whatever, or Spider-Man. They'll do whatever they can to make you watch the show. Why? Because they're evil.
That's their job. That's their jobs, right?
So we could talk about exactly what happened, and this is all spoilers. So if you haven't seen it, don't stop watching. Like anybody out there. But Wanda faces off against Agatha.
Right. Pretty good battle scene, by the way. It was like 20-30 minutes long.
There was a lot of fighting. There was a couple of cues to the Wizard of Oz, which I thought was pretty funny, because Agatha's a witch.
Max Reyes.
My son Max Reyes.
Whoa! He's chiming in. What does Max Reyes believe?
Hold on. Hey Max, what's going on? I'm doing a show with Jason.
What's up, Max?
I'm doing a show with Jason. Can you hear him?
Oh no! Hey Jason.
What's up, Max?
Hey.
We needed a third party. We're glad you called in. We needed that extra. We needed a millennial voice right now. You just have to...
Actually, I really can't decide from what he's saying. Oh, God, how you doing?
I'll call you back. All right, take it easy. All right.
It's beautiful when the young people call in.
I called him when he was taking a nap. So that's what happened.
It's hard being 20-something.
You're sleeping on it. You snooze, you lose.
Right.
Anyway, I like that he called in. He's like, I can't hear a word he's saying. What? Okay, I can't hear a word he's saying.
Right? How old is he exactly?
What? I can't hear what he's saying.
He's like our grandma, like, ¿Cómo?
Eh? That's my favorite. Huh? Dijiste muchacho. That's Dominicanese for what'd you say in kid? Okay? What? All right. So what I thought was really interesting, by the way, throughout this series is that Jimmy Woo is not a sucker.
Right.
Take that, jerks. And 1, 2. There was you had double visions. Get it? You had double visions fighting it out, which is pretty awesome. And they had that great reference to the ship of Thesis, right?
Yes, which was good back and forth.
Which was really cool. I like that. Because in a lot of ways, Vision is incredibly metaphysical. He's actually living on various planes of existence. And if we were to think about it from the point of view of what Vision isn't a human. Vision is and he says it at the end of the show where he was a voice without a body, and he was a synthesoid, and now he's a creation because Wanda
Right.
created him from nothing, basically, from the part of the soul. I'm sorry, the mind stone that was hers. She created him from that, and he's basically a walking, talking memory with physical form and all his powers and everything, which blows your. If you were to think about it, it blows your mind.
Right.
So my thing is, why didn't Snow Vision or Transparent Vision, whatever it is, why didn't he connect? Like why didn't they merge into one? I guess people were really upset about that. They wanted that to happen, but maybe that's farther down the line. We'll see.
Right. If there's anything we learned about the Marvel world, they're always thinking 2-3 steps ahead. So I'm sure that they're planning this for later on in some,
Well,
you know,
the Mind Stone, the Mind Stone is back in the Scepter, right? Or where is it? Because if he
Right.
gets if that Vision, if the recreated Vision gets the Mind Stone, I think we're back in business. But the
Right.
understanding is, right, that the Mind Stone was replaced into that thing. It has to exist somewhere. And we'll find out.
right.
Because everybody else got the stones where they were supposed to be, right? Once the supposedly once the soul stone gets taken off that planet, the Red Skull can leave,
Yeah. Right.
because he's not guarding anything. But maybe leaving
Yeah.
means death.
Right. So did you like the Scarlet Witch or Wanda arc going into this? Because they made it as if she was the person who was not, in control. She doesn't really know her powers. She still seems to need to understand her powers. Do you think that there's more growth to her at this point, where they can use her better down the road, or she's kind of like going to become a bit player now because we kind of know her backstory? Now we're going to go with something else, kind of thing.
I have no idea what the next arc of these movies are going to be. There was no discussion or talk about another Avengers movie, if there's going to be
Right.
one.
That's why I'm asking. I don't see where her next arc would go to at this point, because obviously now she's a very powerful witch. Where can she go where she can cause enough havoc to get back into something?
I don't know. We'll have to see.
Yeah. Because isn't Captain America coming out next week? Isn't that how it works? The Captain America Winter Soldier thing?
It's Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and it comes out. Yeah, it comes not this week, but the week after, right?
Right. So they're going right into it now.
Yeah. This week, I think we get the week of the 16th, we get Justice League Snyder Cut,
which you've been excited for a while now, because you want to see five
I
movies,
wanna-
5 hours of Justice League.
I want to see what's going on. I look. You want to give me an extra 2 hours, another hour and a half of Justice League? I mean, that this is his actual vision, right? This is the director who had to leave the movie because his daughter committed suicide. Yes, folks, that's what happened. Before we understand what happened here, the people who hate his movie have to realize that it was only his movie for about half of the time, and the other half was taken over by the Buffy guy, Joss Whedon, who is also having some issues.
Who knew?
Well, yeah. That guy's a motherfucker. His wife was like, he was fucking teenagers. I'm like, everybody take it easy. Why? All the women that he was involved. He's like this champion of women, but meanwhile,
It's crazy. It's crazy.
But I have a thing on my face and it's making me nuts. That's why I need makeup artists as well. Makeup. So this is actually his vision. I would like to see a filmmaker's vision. Thing about Zack Snyder is, he does the comic book stuff and you can hate Watchmen, his Watchmen movie.
Right.
You can love it, but it exists and it's a version of that story. It's not easy. It's not easy to take an idea from someone else and translate it to something that people understand, especially when it's coming through you. You're the filter of that.
Right.
You could the same thing you said about the Joker movie. It had a moment. It had its moment. Did I enjoy it? I didn't hate it, but did I feel like it was the be all and end all of the Joker movies of Joker? No.
No.
Do I want to see Joker in something else? Sure, whatever. I mean, what? You know what I'm saying? It's like that.
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
Is that it's something? It's something I would like to see because this is his story. This is his take. And then at the end of this month, we get, of course, the main event: Kong versus Godzilla.
Which is all we can think about for the next month.
I can't wait, man. I can't wait. I told you I watched Skull Island. Here's the thing about the last Godzilla. What was it? King of Monsters.
Yes.
I can't really watch it anymore.
Because you've seen it too many times. You know what's going on?
No.
Or
I've seen it 3 times. I saw it in the theater. I saw it at home when it was on some video device, and then I saw it again recently. Not recently.
Sounds illegal. It sounds illegal. Whatever device you were on, by the way.
Yeah, I saw it again on HBO. On HBO when it was released. But it was like during the spring of last year. It was like late night. I put it on because I couldn't sleep, and as soon as I put it on, I fell asleep. So I got about you wake up. You can do that thing when you wake up. You go to sleep. You wake up. I was about halfway through it when I fell asleep. So like all the stuff that like the radiation thing when they blew up the bomb in Atlantis, all that stuff.
Yes.
I didn't see that part. I didn't see all that, the end part. So I got pieces of it in. But I can tell you that it's one of those. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I honestly, considering I'll have my jab by then, jab 2, I might see it in the theater.
Jab 2.
I might go to the movie theater and see it.
Right.
Shit, seriously.
Yeah, they're open. They opened up in New York, and
they opened up in New York.
I think it was
maybe that weekend. It's going to be. I think it comes out on HBO on Friday. I will watch it on HBO on Friday, and then maybe go to the movie theater and check it out there too.
See? Go to Alpine. Go old school.
Yeah, I don't think is it still there?
It's still there. It's kicking $5 movie theaters on Wednesdays.
What?
What do you think all my kids are watching?
Movies? What
do you think all my kids are watching all these Disney movies? I'm gonna spend $20 a pop. Like when I could go to Alpine for $5. Come on.
It's $5 all day, or is it $5 until 6 o'clock, and then they
till like 6 o'clock? Yeah, I want to go early anyway. It gets rowdy watching Toy Story.
This is because Jason works at night, so he'll sleep through the movie.
Yes, it's a great sleep.
His kids will be jumping up and down, creating mess, throwing popcorn. Everybody, he's asleep.
Trolls was the best sleep I got in a movie. Oh my god, I was out for 2 hours. It was great.
Here's why I'm glad I don't have kids anymore. Fucking Trolls, the Trolls movie. Fuck that. I remember we were at this thing at a barbecue or something, and you had Netflix on for your kids, and they were watching the Troll movie, and you were there. She was like, I was like, how many times has she seen this movie? And you're like, oh, maybe 20 times.
Right. It was a go-to.
It's on wall to wall. Like it doesn't stop.
It's a go-to.
Troll goes on, Troll's over, Troll's on again. Boom.
Right. Director's cut, Trolls. Let's do it. the Zack Snyder cut, Trolls. Let's do
it. Boom. There's a great meme going around. Speaking of WandaVision, before we get off, there's a great meme going around as Vision as a black guy. I don't know if you've seen it. It's really funny.
No, I have that.
Like a hood black, a hood guy, not a black. It doesn't matter. Latinos wear do-rags too. But this guy, he has like a Wanda tattoo on his hand. He's wearing a watch. He's wearing a Dewey. They have him with a do-rag and a cornrows. When it has him with cornrows. Oh, it's very funny. It's racist. So I enjoyed Wanda. I liked it. I liked what happened. I liked where it went. I liked what was going on. I think that they underscored the character. They underscored a couple of different characters. We get with that at the last. We find out that the newly minted superhero in the Marvel Universe is probably going to hang out with some Skrulls soon.
Right. We saw that at the end.
And a certain Nick Fury. Monica is going to hang out with Nick Fury, and this is great because that's what Monica does. And the
more Nick Fury, the better. We love Nick Fury.
Yeah, we love Nick Fury. That guy's almost 70. And
exactly.
Also, and Wanda is also doing that thing where she's in different planes of existence, and we'll see what happens next. And okie dokie artichoke, so to speak. But yeah, it was great.
speaking of Nick Fury, this is how the show comes full circle. Let's go back to Nick Fury's first movie first movie that he made. What movie was that? Samuel Jackson's first movie.
His first movie where he was playing more than a bit part.
First movie ever. Period. First movie.
I don't know.
Coming to America. Boom.
No.
He was in McDowell's, sticking on McDowell's. Yes.
Really?
Yes.
All right. Because I remember him in Jungle Fever. Did that happen before or after?
No, that was before. Remember, that came out like 85.
He was in Goodfellas too.
Goodfellas? Yeah, but that was like
no. Coming to America was in 85.
Coming to America was like 84, 85, something like that.
No, dude. Coming to America was not 85. I was
maybe
in high school
86.
in 1985.
Maybe 86.
Coming to America. Coming to America. Hi. 1988. Shut up.
88?
Shut up.
I'm off. 88.
And now we're gonna look at.
I could have sworn that was his first movie.
But I don't know.
When he had the shotgun. He had the shotgun at McDowell's. He had the shotgun at McDowell's, and he stuck up McDowell's.
He stuck up McDowell's. I was there. I saw him.
The Golden Arch, not the Golden Arches.
All right. References. External links. Further reading. Well, this is movies. Filmography. Articles. Performances. All right. Here we go.
There we go.
Ragtime. Gang member number 1. Magic Stick.
Oh, come on.
Burn. Eddie Murphy Raw. He was John Colcourse. Remember that guy?
Eddie Murphy Raw.
Eddie Murphy Raw. Coming to America, 1988. So he made a lot of movies before Coming to America.
But the first one Samuel Jackson was Coming to America. Come on.
Nope. Ragtime. He was gang member.
Yeah, you remember Ragtime.
Then he was in School Days and Do the Right Thing, right? And Sea of Love. But the movie that put him on the map. The movie that got him an Academy Award,
thing
was Jungle Fever.
Jungle Fever.
Yep.
It wasn't Travolta.
He played the crack addict's son in Jungle Fever.
Really?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the
movie
movie
that
that
put him on Academy Award.
Because I was talking to somebody about this. All right, and this is really pissing me off. But
what, Jungle Fever, or that he got an award?
Well,
what's pissing you off?
As a black male actor, you want to get an Academy Award? Be a thug. Be a thug, or be the stereotype. You'll get an Academy. You'll get nominated for an Academy Award.
Hence, Training Day.
That's Training Day, right? Yep. Sam Jackson nominated for Jungle Fever. Denzel Washington nominated for Training Day. And one more that's really good. What's his name from? He was in Coming to America. He was the voice of in that scene.
This guy.
This guy.
The King. You talking about the King?
No, he
not James Earl Jones. He's over.
What's his name? He's the voice of God. Morgan Freeman. Morgan Freeman made a movie. Morgan Freeman made a movie with the guy who played Superman, right? And
old Superman or new Christopher Reeve Superman?
I'm going to go to his filmography as well because I don't have producers on the show that can help me do it. Look at Morgan Freeman.
Where's Max when we need him? Where's Max to be the producer when we need him?
Main article. All right. So he's in a movie. He's in Attica. He's in a lot of movies before this.
Yeah.
Street Smart. In 1987, he made a movie called Street Smart with Christopher Reeve. And in that movie, and Kathy Baker. And that movie, he plays a pimp, and he gets nominated for an Academy Award. Morgan Freeman. God damn. So you saw Coming to America too.
You didn't see it.
I did see it. I want to hear what
you did you?
Oh, yeah.
To be honest with you, I was disappointed. To be honest with you. I was disappointed. Because the whole point of Coming to America, what made Coming to America great was, first of all, Eddie Murphy. But second of all, was the story of this king in another country coming to Queens and trying to adjust to a lifestyle that he's not accustomed to, and all the stuff that comes with it, the people, the characters. And now we
Fish out
come
of water.
right now we come to exactly right now we come to this movie, and we're dealing with his kid or his daughter. Whose story arc were we worrying about? Was it his kid or was his daughter? That's the first problem. The second problem was I don't care about the kid because he didn't do anything really in this movie. He's growing up and selling scalping tickets at Massacre Garden. Okay, we could have done something with that, but then he comes over to Africa to become the next king, and it's like we're just doing gimmicks for this guy. He's not learning anything really. He's not really kind of like discovering anything the way Eddie Murphy did. So that's my main problem. And then you have this strong female characters in the beginning who you think, oh, they're going to be some kind of interesting, and they fizzle out. So what was the movie about, really?
I'm gonna work all that and say, wow, you spent a lot of time thinking about this movie. First of all.
It's been a cold weekend in New York.
Yeah, it's been cold. It's hard to go out when it's cold. 1, 2, fish out of water reverse. So you get this kid that's coming into a new culture and learning all that stuff. At one point, he even says, someone says American movies are the best, and he's like, American movies, they're fucking superhero movies and sequels. They don't need them. And I was like, hey, I think I think Paramount was after Eddie Murphy to make this movie for a long time. Paramount needs some hits, right? They're fucked. Right. They got nothing but Star Trek right now. They're in a bad place. Financially and all kinds of stuff. So they were looking for a hit, and this would have been their hit. This movie would have been their hit had it not been for COVID. It was going to come out at Christmas of 2020, and it would have done gangbusters. It would have been one of those movies that everybody went to see. Now that being said,
a strong opening weekend. I don't know how long it would have sustained, but it would have had a strong opening.
It would have. But see, that's the thing. You have. I'm gonna have to argue racial again though. There's not a whole lot of movies for black people. There isn't. You could say, and they go into this thing about, like they even talk about it, the barbershop movies, all that stuff. They talk about that stuff and what people are willing to see and do. The stories that are out there for black people are always the same. It's like the same thing with Latinos. When was the last Latino movie you saw where there's a Latino protagonist in it? Right. That isn't a gangbanger or a drug dealer or whatever.
Selena.
She gets shot. So man, I'm when Luis, what's his name, shows up in Ant-Man, I'm like, oh my god,
right,
Latino. So you gotta want there to be more than what we've got. So yeah, I mean, they're making their own points. The best thing about that movie, I thought, was Wesley Snipes, right?
Yeah,
and was good. Wesley Snipes was awesome. Wesley Snipes was also, but it did a lot of interesting things. It was a very woke version of Eddie Murphy, right?
Right.
That's the truth. You see that my robes are on fleek? It's like, no one's on fleek.
Right.
But that kind of stuff, like that stuff. And yes, you're right. These even though they were trying to be progressive in the story, the women in it were still taking a back seat until the end.
Right.
And that, but you had to get there. There was a couple different things that happened to place this thing. But overall, it was the same old fucking Eddie Murphy movie. Him doing 8 people, some fart jokes, some great one-liners. A little
trading places joke in there. Did you see that one?
Trading places joke in there,
which was funny. Yeah,
that was good.
That was good.
But there was stuff, and it wasn't.
I guess Coming to America when I was growing up was kind of like the first comedy, and I could throw Ghostbusters in there where I kind of remember. You know what I'm trying to say? So it kind of hit home. So I kind of remember a lot of jokes and stuff. I won't remember jokes from this movie. You know what I'm trying to say? I just won't remember. I mean,
you won't remember some of the one-liners. You won't remember famine and Ebola or whatever.
Yeah, I mean there were a few, but they're not gonna I don't think people are gonna quote them the way you would quote, some things from Coming to America.
I don't
because it had that special place.
I don't remember half of that movie.
You remember half of that movie?
I remember half of what? Coming to America? Coming to America, but you know what it is? I refused to watch TNT and TBS in the 90s. I refused. And I know in the 80s and 90s, shit was on all the... You know how many times Conan the Barbarian was on TBS, man? Oh,
right.
God. I mean, It
Red
was
Sonja. How many times have I
Red.
seen
How
Red
many
Sonja?
times? You know, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Oh boy.
Right.
Um, so it was that kind of thing. They bought movies and they just kept playing them over and over again. And then
Right.
people were like, "Yeah, I can't do anything on demand right now." And when that changed, shit changed for cable. And and it's always like this thing. It's like, well, I miss the days when you had to wait until your movie was on.
Right.
That's gonna be on Tuesday, 8 o'clock. Let me set up the VCR for that. It's like, get
I
out
know.
of here.
I know.
You know.
So your favorite Eddie Murphy movie then, if it's not coming to America, just out of
Oh,
curiosity, I want to do a litmus test to see where you are.
my favorite Eddie Murphy movie. It's a toss up. Eddie Murphy was it's okay. I'm gonna say instead my favorite Eddie Murphy characters.
Okay.
Beverly Hills Cop character. Beverly Hills
Axel
Cop 1 and
Foley.
2 are great movies. Those
Yeah.
are speaking of TBS. Those are great
Yeah.
movies. Um, I think that his Nutty Professor is fucking fantastic.
Yes, I agree.
Again, 20, almost 30 years ago at this point, right? Nutty Professor and Nutty Professor 2, The Crumps,
The Crumbs.
hilarious. Like straight
Right.
up really fucking funny. Those movies are amazing. Now then, he did that kid thing for a while, but there was one movie he made during that kid time with Steve Martin called Bowfinger. Have you ever seen that movie?
Yes, Bowfinger was a great movie.
Bowfinger is
Yes,
a very, very funny movie.
an inside Hollywood movie. Very, very well done.
Very, very funny, very hilarious.
Yes.
The other thing I was saying is like, Eddie Murphy's biggest influences, one of his biggest influence was, besides Richard Pryor, was Jerry Lewis.
Uh-huh.
He really, really loved Jerry Lewis. And one of the reasons why he remade Nutty Professor is because he liked Jerry Lewis, and they started talking about it. He said, I've always wanted to make a movie. Would like to remake it with my point of view. And Jerry was like, sure.
Do it.
And the thing is that Jerry could say that because he owns Nutty Professor. And I was making a point of this on the Facebook. Jerry Lewis started off. He was a kid when him and Gene Martin made movies. He started off playing his family's hotel in the Catskills. You know what I mean? Like he was a busboy, then he'd go up and do a joke, and then he'd come off.
Right. Right.
He created this character. He honed this character, and then he's like this mealy mouth jerk that ends up being the Dean Martin role. And I think the guy the jerk to Dean Martin's straight man. But they had a really great chemistry, and all the movies they made were fantastic. After that ended, for lots of different reasons, he couldn't get arrested. Like nobody wanted to touch him. He was radioactive.
Right.
And he took his own money and made The Bellboy, and The Bellboy, and he basically made that movie, and then he got someone to distribute it, and it made him millions of dollars. If you think about what it was, The Bellboy, he doesn't say a whole lot during it, right?
Yeah.
It's just him doing his comic stuff. But if you ever, it's classic comedy. It's classic double takes, spit takes, just great stuff. And if you haven't seen it, you should see it if you can find it. It's not easy to find because he put shit like Disney. He would put shit in vaults, and would let him out every once in a while. If you ever seen him do a serious thing, he did a movie called King of Comedy, where he plays a late night guy who gets kidnapped, and it's a really great movie too. But that being said, so he was able to Jerry Lewis was able to do something that very few in Hollywood had done, which is create his own empire, because he owned all the movies he made, and all the movies he made were hits, and the ability to, of Eddie Murphy following in those footsteps to me is a very interesting thing, and I think that we need. It's great that we have people in situations that are able to do that. I'm glad that Eddie Murphy made this movie. I hope that he makes more. I kind of miss him. I miss him as the comedic guy. I hope maybe there's a Beverly Hills Cop movie in his future. Who knows? Not that. Do we need a sequel? A Beverly Hills Cop 2 or 3? Jesus, 3. There was actually there was talk of there being a fourth movie and him doing it, but I think COVID might have slowed that down. But again, owned by Paramount. Paramount got nothing right now, man. They got nothing, and they're suffering because of it. So
Didn't they start a new Paramount Network or something
It's
like that, like a
CBS
streaming
All
service?
Access, isn't it? CBS All Access?
No, but they had their own. They just create. I think it came out Thursday or something
No,
like
I
this
think
weekend.
that it's CBS All Access. It's
Oh, is that
just
what it
changed
is?
its name.
Oh, I got you. They changed it to make it Paramount, so it seems like it's more of
Yeah,
Paramount
CBS All
kind of thing.
Access is now Paramount Plus.
Right, Paramount Plus, right.
Because they couldn't come up with a better name than Paramount Plus.
Right. It's like you said, when you're struggling, let's look the other way because CBS Access probably wasn't making the money they wanted, so let's make it Paramount Plus and make people.
They merged the Viacom and CBS were two separate entities. They were split in the '90s, in the late '90s, early 2000s by Sumner Redstone, who was like, CBS is making money, money's in cable, kicked them out, and then the guy who Les Moonves was like, okay, kick me out, and he started making content for the last of the baby boomers that were doing well. I mean, look at all the shows at CBS, NCIS, New Jersey, NCIS, Kansas City,
Right.
Idaho,
CIS,
NCIS, Idaho, Poughkeepsie, and all the other movies, the other show, CSI. Miami, which is one of my favorite. Yeah. Anyway, never watched that show, but and they also and Paramount has Showtime, so they were able to do something. But they have great shows too, but it's not the same,
Yeah.
So it's an interesting thing. I'm hoping that they'll get off their ass and do it or get sold. Somebody else should buy them. I don't know, something. Star Trek needs Star Trek. The best thing about Paramount right now is Star Trek. They put a show up. I watch all of it. People complain about it, but where was you didn't have Star Trek at all 4 years ago? Shut up.
Yeah, I know.
I hate it. Don't watch it.
It's true. They can't get enough, and then when they have too much, they hate it. They can't go wrong.
Now they complain they have too much. It's like, don't watch it. Watch your Netflix shows.
On that note, are you a Walking Dead guy? Have you ever been a Walking Dead guy?
Yeah, I used to read the comics. I love the comics, man. I read the comics forever, and then
and you didn't like the show.
I watched the first. I watched the first few seasons. And they kind of like. It started losing. Okay, when Negan showed up, turned me off completely because I know Negan from the comics, and Negan or whatever his name is.
Negan, right?
Napalm. I know him from the comics, and it's okay. It's right. They killed one of the favorite characters on the show, which is like, why would you kill Glenn? Like as soon as they killed Glenn, I'm like, why would you kill? They kill Glenn in the comics. I'm like, the comics ain't the TV show.
Right.
The 40 people a month, the 4,000 people a month that are buying the comics don't give a fuck. Oh Glenn, oh that's a shame, and they'll talk about themselves, talk about it in their fucking internet rooms, and spill some shit and then go on and buy the next comic because they want to know what's happened. People got turned off by that and stopped watching Walking Dead. Right. You kill Glenn. Why am I watching this, man? Glenn, the few non-white characters on the show, they kill that guy.
Well, the reason why, and it's funny you mentioned that because that's when I stopped watching, and it wasn't because they killed him. It was because they teased and they said they killed him in one episode. Remember they did this like two-parter, and then they realized he was like under a trash can or whatever it was, and he was fine.
That was cool, by the way. That was cool.
But Walking Dead was never, at least up to that point, was never about gimmicks. It was just giving you a straight story. And I felt for the first time now they were going into the gimmick route, and that kind of turned me off. And they've gone nothing but gimmicks since then. And that's why I really don't watch it. I just found it interesting that it popped up the other day, but I haven't heard the buzz. Considering there's not much to watch, you would think there'd be more buzz to it, and it just hasn't been.
Did it start again?
It started like last Sunday. Exactly.
First of all, the people that the people that I watch the show for aren't on the show anymore. Like they got rid of Cowboy Hat guy and his son, Cowboy Hat Jr.
Right. But he's not dead, Cowboy Hat. That's the other problem. They got so many different worlds they're gonna start creating that none of these people are gonna die. So why do I care what the final episodes are gonna be? They're not gonna die. They're gonna have new series coming up.
I like. Well, again, it was different for stuff that was on television, so I'd watch it every week because it was different. It got more and more violent. You know, because people were introduced and you were like, oh, people. And it's like, and it always feels like it's like the X-Files. It always feels like it's being done in the same three places.
Right.
But there's a couple. There's like the last when they beat Negan, the season where they beat Negan, I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah,
And
it had its moments.
And then the season, and now but I haven't seen when Rick disappears yet, so I might start watching that. I'm finishing up Narcos in Mexico, which is hard because I said that we're gonna get rid of a character I liked,
right?
And you're like, oh man.
So you're Glenn. This is your Glenn, basically. You don't want him going away.
I like Glenn. Glenn was in the be all and end all. He was alright. But I mean, I like Glenn a lot. But to me, he was kind of like one of those guys that, what's the word? Like he was the everyman,
Yeah.
He was just a dude who fell in love with this chick that he met. And knocked her up. Now what are they gonna do? That kind of thing.
Right.
And it was like not a sitcom or anything, but it was kind of felt that way. Like, oh, what are you gonna do now? Then I don't know. Let's have some more sex. But everybody else had like this sad fucking story. Like, I mean, his girlfriend had his girlfriend's sister turned. Her house was overrun. Grandpa Munster dies. All that shit.
Yeah, poor. Right, Grandpa.
It's sad, but everybody had the same shit. Like. When what's her name? When Carol's story, which is fantastic. I love Carol.
Yeah.
But can Carol carry the show?
Right.
She's gonna have to. That's the next.
She's gonna have to
be The Walking Dead after this. It's gonna be the Carol and what's his name movie show.
And Daryl, the Carol and Daryl.
Yeah, Carol and Daryl show. Yeah.
They fight. It's gonna get to
the Carol and Daryl show.
Exactly.
Yeah. I killed her because she comes back. That's not what happens, crazy bitch. Carol's fucking ice in the veins. Like she's like the Terminator.
But considering where she came from, she was
where exactly she was like her husband beat her up and then she killed her husband. And then you're like, damn, she's cold. Ice is cold blooded. They even told her, listen, you're cold blooded. You got to go.
Right. We don't even watch.
You're cold blooded, Carol.
Right, zombies are one thing, but you're out of control.
You fucking cold blood. Damn, you did what? Yeah, you gotta go.
Yeah, we can't have you around here. We got kids.
Well, we had kids, and then
right.
Actually, I'm remembering the episode where she found the girls, and she turned it into like she brought them to everybody, and one of them was like off, and you knew it right away. Like she's like, that kid's off.
Yeah.
But she killed her sister, and you're like, why would you do that? Because she'll come back. No, that's. Oh.
This cat was losing it.
Yeah. So Coming to America was okay. I mean, They had the grass burger. That was funny.
Yeah, we beg to differ.
It's made from grass. It's made from grass. Is it good? Yes. It's not. But all right.
Yeah.
It's made from grass. So there's that. I thought it was okay. I mean, you know what okay, you want to talk about shit that I saw this week that was bad? It was bad. I saw Arrival because I'm trying to catch all of the Denis Villeneuve movies before Dune comes out, which I will see.
Arrival, the old movie, The Arrival?
No, the one that came out in 2018.
Oh, okay, so not this.
2016.
Okay.
It's these conical, these crazy ass potato chip looking spaceships show up on Earth, and we have to translate their language.
Oh yeah, I did see that. I was thinking of Contact. Yes. Yes, I was thinking of
hexa pusses.
Right, and they get the person who they think could translate to come over and try to figure it out.
What they realize is, I'm not going to give it away if you haven't seen it, but it's a really good movie, and you should see it.
Yeah.
Not going to give it away. You should see it. That was a good movie. Like, hands down good.
Yeah, right. It was good.
Did you see it?
It's no contact, but it's good.
You like Contact more than this movie?
I'm a Jodie Foster guy. Ever since Freaky Friday. I have a soft spot for her.
Silence of the Lambs?
Freaky Friday.
Freaky Friday.
No, Freaky Friday back in the day.
Yeah, okay. Silence of the Lambs is a movie for me, man. Silence of the Lambs is so good. So fucking good.
Don't they have a show on her character that's on like TV now that just came
Yeah,
out?
on Paramount Plus, as a matter of fact.
Oh, is
It's
it true?
called Clarice, and it's boring. Oh, yo, nah. Hannibal, on the other hand, is fantastic. Have you seen Hannibal?
The old show.
The old show. Yeah, it's no longer on TV.
The one that
on Netflix.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
But
yeah,
it's
yeah,
an
right,
NBC show.
Yeah, it
What's
was
really
NBC
funny
a couple years back.
It was run by one of the guys who started Star Trek up for CBS, but the new Star Trek Discovery.
Right.
And I could talk about the Star Trek Discovery all day, but I'm not going to because I'm sure you haven't seen any of it.
But you want me to? I could break this down. I haven't broken out against Star Trek in a while, so we could do this.
You haven't watched Star Trek at all?
No, I haven't seen Discovery, but if it means taking this podcast to the next level, I'll do it.
Take it to the next level. I don't know. It might not mean that. It might mean, making people angry because I really like that show.
Isn't this girl from Walking Dead on it? Wasn't she?
Yeah. She was
yeah.
Okay. You know what? When you see people from stuff now in old shows, and you're like, "What? That person was in there." She was in. That girl that was on Walking Dead was on a show called New Girl, which I just finished watching all of.
Yes.
She plays you know who I'm talking about?
I know the show.
She plays
a
character on New Girl called Rhonda, who plays pranks. She was on 2 episodes, and she ends up getting married to one of the characters on the show. Rhonda herself is great, but the fact is, you see her do all the acting choices that she's done on Walking Dead and in Star Trek Discovery as Rhonda. And she's only was in 2 episodes, so that means that she's like, wow, man, no wonder she's a strong. She brings it. She's very strong.
Yeah.
The
she was good at Walking Dead. Yeah.
You believe shit. One of the things that I find really offensive is that people keep saying, everybody keeps crying on Discovery. It's like, it's fucking emotional shit that's happening. Like, you don't want anybody to ever cry. These people aren't military.
Right.
It's like these aren't military people. I know we act like they are, but they're not. They're on voyages. They have weapons because they don't want to die, but they are on voyages of discovery. They get into wars, sure, but that's not what they're primarily about in this thing. They're about voyages of discovery and figuring things out and understanding things and learning about each other and shit like that. That's what made me love Star Trek when I was a kid. It wasn't just it wasn't just a Space Amoeba episode,
Great episode,
which is one of my favorites. Space Amoeba, which is basically the same original Star Trek, it's basically the same premise. Space Amoeba and Doomsday Machine. They were like, the Doomsday Machine is this giant spaceship that just destroys things, destroys planets, and the Enterprise has to find a way to stop it. The Space Amoeba is a giant amoeba that comes out of nowhere.
Right.
The Enterprise got to stop it. So, it's that kind of thing. Oh, gotta turn on the light, guys. It's getting dark in here. Sun's going down, big guy. So there's that kind of a thing, and the best thing is going to be a big loud beep in a minute, kids. Yep, there it is. The best part of that is that you get this feeling of this really wonderful feeling of discovery. Plus, all the characters on the show, they got black characters, white characters, orange characters, gay characters. They got trans characters on the show. These are all wonderful thoughts and feelings about people and how we move into this new millennium or this new century, and how we should treat people like people. And they're all these different things, but they're people first. You know what I mean? And they're more. We have more in common, right? Than we have, not.
Differences.
And I think that when we come down to this ideology and this realization or whatever, we'll probably get to be a better place, but it's going to take some time because people don't want to hear that.
Right.
So
that's what makes Spock such a great character, though, because he was trying to understand us. We were so complex, and there was so much about us that it was mind blowing to him that we were just so many emotions, so different ranges, which was great.
Yeah, it's like the understanding of what emotion is, what it isn't, and how people are, how people can what is it to be a human? What is it to be a human person in that right now? What is it to be a human person 20 years ago? What is it to be a human person 1,000 years in the future? All these things are interesting, and they're all specific to that human condition and what makes us human. So the Star Trek Next Generation, was tripping all over itself to do that, but there was stuff that the producers didn't want to. I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna turn my thing off. It's like everything is. I don't know
So you didn't like Riker. I'm hearing that you didn't like Riker. Is what
I
I'm
love
hearing
Riker.
You liked him?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Riker went to the Klingon ship and had gah. Like, I'm gonna eat
That's
this.
right.
I'm gonna eat this like you, mother. You don't think I'm gonna do that?
Right.
You know.
It's true. Oh, good times.
Out of the characters on Star Trek Next Generation, I really like Picard a lot because Picard.
Yeah.
But my other guys I liked were Worf. As the show went on, Worf became more and more interesting.
Yeah.
The Klingon episodes are great, and then he ended up on DS9, which is like my favorite of all time Star Trek show.
They say, I think, is it Worf that wants to create a Klingon, just like a Klingon?
He wants to
version
do
of
a Star Trek after Star Trek Next Generation story about what happens to Worf in and stuff. But I think he's a Federation captain. That's like an ambassador to the Klingons or something. We'll see. Who knows? They'll do anything. They need shows.
Yeah, you're right, and that sounds interesting. You get the Klingon perspective. Why not?
10 episodes of Worth. I mean, we how many weeks do we have in a year? 52. They could have they could have 50 free. They could have 5 freaking shows back to back on Paramount. Sorry, Paramount Plus. You know what I mean? Because people are going to pay for it. I mean, you can complain about it. They're already doing one based on the early Enterprise voyages with Pike. Strange New Worlds. That's supposed to be coming down the Pike.
The Pike. It's a joke, son. You missed it.
So to speak. And Spock's going to be on that. The new Spock is pretty cool. Yeah. They're also doing a what do they call it? A Kelvinverse version. Another Kelvinverse Star Trek movie.
I don't hear you talking about Voyager. You know, we're in a Voyager guy. What? You weren't a Voyager guy? You skipped over Voyager when you talk about your Star Trek favorites. They were lost in space trying to come back home. Come on.
No, so to your point, I gave Voyager a chance and ended up watching every episode. Like every episode. I watched every episode of Voyager. Did I watch it completely entranced? No. Why? Because I cared not for them, man.
Yeah, I know.
No, dude.
They didn't have any interesting characters.
Kim, right. Ensign Kim was an ensign for 7 years.
Right. Where could he go? They were stuck in space. They were just trying to survive.
You give him one anyway. Or you give him a field commission. Something. What the fuck? Right. Ensign Kim's ensign. That's the thing. They kept everybody encapsulated in this thing. We don't know. Just because a show is out there for 7 years, you never know how long the show goes on for. It might only have been out there for 3 years. They had a pact. It's like 100. They were doing 22 episodes a year, 23 episodes a year. That's a lot of shows.
Yeah.
So I mean, remember we were growing up, like TV was like 30 episodes or something like that. It was a lot of shows, right?
And it seemed like a lot, but not, you look at it now, you can just stream everything, It's crazy.
Now you're like, 10 episodes, and you're like, okay. Because it's not doing the thing. It's those shows, having a cohesive storyline throughout wasn't something they were doing. Even X-Files, it was like 20 episodes, had that, and that's still kind of like, they had to come up with, think about it, you have to come up with a fucking show every week. Like, you have to come up with 20 fucking scripts, and a season finale, and a mid-season cliffhanger, and if you were going to do that kind of shit. So that's a lot of work, man. And if you don't have a cohesive bunch of writers that can do that, your show's garbage.
Yeah, you're right.
And I kind of felt that Voyager was garbage. Voyager. Speaking of Paramount, Voyager kicked off UPN.
Yeah, I remember that. Right.
And it was a big deal. It's going to have its own channel. And Voyager, blah 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 blah. And they were thinking of canceling DS9 early, and they had very big fights about that. But Voyager kicked off Paramount Plus, UPN,
yeah.
And then right after Voyager ended, Enterprise started, and I liked Enterprise a lot. Like I liked it a lot, but it was only on for 3 seasons.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what happens sometimes. You know, some shows people like, some shows people don't like. The individual characters on Voyager were fine. I mean, I liked Janeway, just didn't like the show. When they brought Seven
like
of Nine,
Tuvok?
in, I was like, you were talking about gimmicks. 7 of 9 was a gimmick.
I know. Yeah.
You know, Jerry. I mean, she's better in the Picard show. She kicks ass in the Picard show, but
Right.
they deal with stuff in the Picard show that they don't deal with in regular Star Trek, which is there's a whole other bunch of universes out there that might not be Federation aligned, and there's crime out there. You know,
Okay.
there's criminals and pirates and all kinds of shit happening in space. The Federation doesn't deal with it because they're like, goody two shoes flying around, blah blah blah.
Right.
But there are people out there that are still fighting for control and trying to do shit, and it's interesting. Same thing with
It's
Discovery.
Texas. It's Texas.
It's Texas, right? It's Texas all over again. No power. People with the virus not wearing masks. It's all nuts. I like shows and stuff that's based on the truth. Narcos is that. Narcos is a narrative, but the show itself is about how the Colombian drug lords got so big.
Yeah.
And it tells you that story. Same thing with Narcos. It tells you Narcos Mexico. It tells you how the Mexican cartels got fucking giant.
Yeah.
And it started with pot.
Sprinkling a little U.S. in there, and you get a story.
Well, the biggest thing about marijuana and cannabis and drugs in general is if you make them illegal, they become stronger.
Yeah.
Tax them. Just tax them. Let people consume them. Tax them. Just like alcohol. Alcohol kills something like, 100,000 people a year. Alcohol consumption kills a lot of people. You know what we do to alcohol? We tax it.
And you regulate it, right?
Regulate it. Yeah.
Smoking tobacco, same thing.
Well, smoking, that people don't smoke as much anymore. But yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, they have control of it. They tax it. Yeah. It costs $40 a carton now.
$10. $10 a carton. $40 a carton. I don't know. I can't quit.
Right.
I don't smoke cigarettes, but I can tell you that I drink alcohol. I'm making old fashions for myself, like a gentleman.
You going old school where you put in the sticks and the raisins and stuff in the bottom. Remember that old school stuff?
Oh, you're talking about.
I'm going old school. Yeah, when you got to get raisins and sticks, you get all sorts of things in there.
Can you see it?
No.
Hold on. Can you see
There it is. Yeah, I saw the flag.
Hold on. I can't.
There it is. The background's blurring
There it is. So yeah, Mama Juana. This is it. This is what he's talking about, folks. If you can see it, it's getting through the barrier. It's basically Dominican wine that has like sticks and rocks and shit in it, and
right.
like orange peels and
whatever was in the garbage, you just throw it in there, and all of a sudden it becomes.
It's that with red wine. You can look it up, but it's basically this like homegrown way to get fucked up. And the thing is that that if you go to the Dominican Republic, they make it all kinds of different ways. They make it with like seafood in it, and I'm like, my father had some of it.
Yeah,
I guess they clean the seafood with alcohol, and I'm like, Dad, you sure that's okay? And he's like, it's fine. I'm like, yeah. You want something? I'm like, no.
I'm good.
I want my anus to go home in one piece. Thank you.
Right. Good times.
Yeah, you've been to Puerto Rico. When was the last time you went to the We're from the Dominican Republic, folks. When was the last time you went to the Dominican Republic?
Well, my kid when she was about 2.5, 3, so that was about 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
That was the time I went with your brother. That was the last time. Remember when I went with your brother and a couple cousins, and there was like 15 of us who took over the country for a while.
That's right. I couldn't go because of stuff.
Circumstances, right?
Yeah.
We got to do one of those though. We got to do another one of that where we get
after
20
COVID,
people together.
Maybe, hey, why don't we start? We can start planning that now. Maybe in 2000.
I agree.
What is this? 2021.
We're in.
Maybe next
Summer
year.
of 2022. Boom.
Yeah, why not? Everybody will be shut up by then. Maybe we'll do it for the spring or around this time because it's hot down there. Edgar still has that house. We all
He
sleep in
still
Eggers.
got a place. Yep. 20 of us in a one bedroom.
We all sleep in
old
Eggers
school.
one bedroom.
Just like old days.
Just like old days, bro. Somebody put a foot through a TV.
And that was usually me, by the way.
No, that was a
Do you remember,
story.
do you remember the time we had the blackout? Do you remember the time me and your brother?
Oh my
started
God, the
in the building. We blew out the whole building. We had the bright idea to put sharp scissors inside a wall socket to try to take one of the plugs out and just shock the whole building and just took it all offline.
So Jason used to live upstairs from me in Brooklyn. We used to live on 51st Street in Brooklyn. Jason used to live upstairs. He was the upstairs neighbor. Yeah. And you were still living there when the fire happened, right?
Yes, we were there.
We lived in that house for 20 years. My parents lived in that house for 20 years. In that apartment. Not 20, 18. Sorry, 18. I was 21 when it burned down. So 22.
Literally burned down.
They burned down. It was an arson situation, and we had to get the hell out of the apartment, and we all dispersed to the four winds. I think you lived with our aunt in Park Slope for a while, right?
Yeah, for like a year or two, yeah.
Until you got a new place.
Digs,
until my mom pulled some strings.
Right. To the humble abode they live in now.
My mom is the loudest little Latina lady in the room in any government office. Who's that Latina lady? It's my mom. My mom's yelling at somebody.
Right.
She's like, you ever hear the face-to-face story? Have I ever told you that story?
What story is this? Face to face.
Fait to fait. Okay. All right. So I grow up in a house that my mom is kind of like this person who pulls strings. She gets involved. Yeah. She learns the system.
She gets it done.
And she writes everything down. So people are like, then this is you're here, right? Okay. You're going to have to get food stamps. This is how you're going to get food stamps. You're going to get food stamps by seeing this guy and go to this building on Tuesday. I'll go with you. And then we're going to talk.
She's our version of the fixer. She's our version of the fixer. Yeah.
Fill out this paperwork, blah, blah, blah. You don't have a social security number yet. We're going to get you one of those too, blah, blah. So that's my mom. Right. She would help people get visas, get social security numbers, get on food stamps.
All up and up. She knew the system and she used the system to her advantage. Yeah, yeah.
So one of the things you have to do if you're going to get food stamps or any kind of assistance is you have to go for a face-to-face. Or, in Dominican speak, fait to fait. And I'm growing up listening, like, what the fuck is a fait? What's fait to fait?
Which sounds a lot more gangster, fait to fait.
Like, I don't know what it is. I'm like, all right, fait to fait, whatever. And then I figure it out. I was like, I asked her once, mami, ¿qué es eso? ¿Qué es fait to fait? Tú sabes cuando tú vas y ellos te van a ver para la primera vez y para la primera face to face, mom. Eso que yo dije, face to face. Got it. Eso que yo dije. They get mad at you. Like you think
what's wrong with you? Yeah, what's wrong with you?
What you do? I didn't do that.
You speak English.
I'm trying to understand. I'm trying to understand you. I'm coming into your world, mom. I'm trying to get into your world.
Right. I'm trying to open up here.
And that's, by the way, that's how all Dominicans talk. Just like that, everything has emphasis, no matter what it is. And if you don't, and if you can't do something, it's a problem. Like if you're like changing, you're gonna go out there. Are you changing? I'm changing. Are you changing yet? I'm changing. I'm going to work. You gonna go to work? Yes. I'm gonna go to work today. Yeah, I'm going to work today. That's why I'm putting on clothes to go to work. Or are you working? Always. Are you working?
Right.
I'm working at this job for 20 years. But are you working though? Everything's okay? Like,
it's a big deal at age. It's
like people working? You could be a lawyer and your mom will ask you if you're working. You know what I'm saying? It's like, come on.
Or you could be like Jay-Z and have like $1 million in the bank. Why aren't you working today? Like,
what's
Jay-Z,
going on?
I got $500 million. I don't need to work right now.
Fire you? You need a job? I know somebody. I can help you out.
Yeah.
Dominicans are always hustling. It's like crazy.
Yeah. There's always a game to be played up.
And also, it's like, if you can't eat at your mom's, you got to find the right place to get your rice and beans and your pork chop. Otherwise, you ain't living.
No. Not anybody could give you the pork chop.
No, you got to find the right place. in the neighborhood.
Right.
Don't go there. They don't know how to make it. And by the way, when they say they don't know how to make it, it's because it's somebody else making it. It's not like the
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
It's somebody else making it. It's like the goddamn dry turkey we have for Thanksgiving every year. Turkey's dry as fuck.
It's how the Pilgrims had it. You think the Pilgrims had a savory, savory turkey?
Like you can hear it creaking. Dominicans are hilarious because they'll make spaghetti and give you rice and beans.
No keto on that plate.
My son loved that. He loved it. He couldn't wait to see Grandma for the spaghetti and rice and beans.
Yeah.
Couldn't wait, man. It made him so happy.
Speaking of Max, I think the guy's waiting for you.
We're closing up doors. All right. One more thing that's happening this month. I forgot to tell everybody. There's a show based on a comic book created by the same guy who created Walking Dead. It's animated, and Glenn's on it.
Is it really?
Glenn's the voice of the main character, and it's called Invincible. Yeah. And if you like really good bloody sci-fi, if Superman and Goku merge into one character, and every time he fought, he get beaten to a pulp, like, you know, and then he has to get beaten to a pulp to get stronger. It's kind of like but it's a great show. Check it out. It's coming. It's going to be on Amazon Prime if you have it. It's called Invincible, and maybe I'll throw a trailer up on. I'll throw a trailer on the Facebook channel.
Nice.
All right. This is Jesus and Jason.
Always a pleasure.
Until next time, please share. Please subscribe. Thank you very much. We love you. Talk to you later.
Take it easy.
Bye. All right, man. Cool.
It's still recording.